guess I'm cool. So how y'all doing? Surviving this new world?
Very busy.
Yeah, I think it's, well, for me, it seems a little less busy than my normal day, just because I don't have to get up so early and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know.
True.
I think I sort of got my head wrapped around it now, but we'll see how it goes. I had two Zoom meetings this morning with my yesterday and today with my kids. Evelyn, do you have those with your guys?
I only met with one of my classes, and I did I did a screencastify instead
Oh, okay.
because I just wasn't ready to do the Zoom.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. I like it. Kids like it.
I
You
mean,
don't.
I've done that with my colleagues, so I know how to do it. It's
Yeah.
just I wasn't quite ready. Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
tell me, how did it go? Good?
Yeah, it's good. Kids are good. It's weird though. It's like with you guys now, like I'm just like talking out into space. And so I'm such an extrovert, and I just like, it's
Yeah,
just
it's
hard,
different.
it's really weird. And my dog thinks there's someone in the room that I'm talking to, so she keeps barking. So my husband has been bringing her up to his office where he's working, and it's quiet when I'm on because she just like starts barking and looking like,
Who are you talking to?
who am I talking to? So, okay. Wow, we've got a lot of people on here. All right. So I'm Beth Manning. If you don't know me, I'm a science teacher at Westside Middle School Academy. I use Google Classroom in my classroom when I was at school every day. In science, I do a mix of online stuff and not online stuff because we use science notebooks and that kind of thing. So I am one of those Google super user people, and so I told Frank I could do this. So I'm gonna kind of so you guys, we don't have that many people, so you guys can be just it helps if you're muted while I kind of go over some stuff, and then you can unmute if you want to ask me a question. Also, as questions come up, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Zoom. I've been on like probably, I don't know, 15 Zoom meetings since the beginning of last week. But anyway, if you're not that familiar with Zoom, there's on the bottom bar there's a chat window. And so if you click on that, you can see, there you can chat with me or whatever. So, and if you have questions as we go along, that's probably a great place to just kind of type it in there. And at different points, I'll try to stop and just kind of pop in to look at the chat. I am not a perfect computer person. So I kind of, sometimes I think sometimes I do things like a roundabout way because I am not a digital native. I am a digital immigrant because of my age, but I use Google Classroom a lot. So hopefully we'll be able to get you guys some help that you need. And I hope it's well worth your while. If it's, I just thought I would kind of leave it up to you about kind of where we go with it and kind of where you're at with Google Classroom just to start with. And you can always work along with me if you want. And I was going to share my screen with you and just work out some things. So I guess to start, what I want to know, because I kind of, no one gave me any information, is do you all have a Google Classroom set up, or do you need help setting up a class? Because that would be the first place we would start. So if you want, you could just pop into the chat and just say, just answer that question. Do you need help setting up a class? Okay.
I have.
And please feel free to unmute yourself anytime. And if you want to ask me a question or ask me, we're all grown up, so we can manage that. It's really nice to have a mute button to mute your students. It's quite empowering, I have to say, being a middle school teacher. So I don't know, I can kind of get used to that. Anyway, I'll be back in my class trying to hit a button and trying to mute them. So it looks like y'all have classes set up. So in that case, I was my
No.
idea in my head was to try to go over with you how to like kind of go through like each of the menus and like what you can do there, like in announcements, assignments, and even in the people section. Okay, so I think maybe we'll start with that. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Let me just move you guys over here so I can get to what I need to get to. Okay. Yeah, I can't move you. See, I need to be better at doing multiple things on my screens all at the same time. Okay, share screen. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna make you people small. All right. So so this is my Google Classroom right now, and so what I thought I would do is I was just going to kind of walk you through. I'll just pick one of my classes and I'll walk you through announcements, what to do in announcements, and then and then maybe we'll take a break and I'll look at the chat to see what kind of questions there are, and then I'll walk you through some assignments and also like what you can do in the little people section. So these are my classes that are set up on the screen. If it helps you, you can also, like, PSYOP was one of the last classes I joined, so that moved over here. But you can actually move these around, like if you don't like where something is. Like I like to see all my science, the classes that I manage first on my screen. So you can just click on your classes and move them around. I typically, mine are named by the blocks that I have, for my classes. And we also, for cluster, we manage one for a STEM information thing for my parents and for my kids and my parents too. So I'll go into one of my classrooms, and please feel free to chime in and ask me a question too as as we go along, because I don't know, it's weird like talking out into the void here. All right, so this is my classroom for my 71 class. As you can see up here, once you create a class, it generates the code, and that's the code that you give to your students and they can join. Okay. If you have a kid that hasn't joined, or a new kid, or somebody that you haven't really captured somehow, you can also send them an invite, and I'll show you where you do that later for the classroom. But that's the code that they need to join. Kids are, well, I shouldn't say that. Kids at Westside are pretty good at just, there's a plus sign for them. And when they get to classroom and they just click on the plus sign, they put in the code and they pop into their classroom. I give and you can do this in settings for your classes. I give my different classes different themes and stuff. It's just a signal to me that I know what class I'm in and what class I'm not in or whatever. So,
Beth, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Marie Dillon. I'm a special ed resource teacher.
Yep.
And if there are other SPED teachers on here, I think we're all running into the same problem, I think. We've been told to create a classroom like resource grade 1.
Yep.
But then we have to create a classroom for every single student separately because of privacy laws.
Yeah, I heard that.
So what I'm trying to do is post something on my grade 1 classroom and then schedule out that assignment to those individual classrooms. And I have not been able to do that. When I try to schedule it, the schedule button is grayed. So what I'm doing right now is posting it, like cutting and pasting it individually on every single kid's page on my caseload. If there's not a solution to that, then I kind of want to know now. If there is a solution.
You should be able to, so I guess here's—
Marie, I have the same problem.
Are you trying to schedule information in Stream, or are you trying to schedule information in classwork?
In classwork.
Okay.
So we're having trouble, all of us. I just heard Jeannie chime in. We're having trouble sharing it out from our main classroom. So what I'm doing right now is I'm leaving it on my main classroom so my supervisors can see what I'm doing. But then I have to copy it and paste it onto every single individual kid's page that I want to assign it to.
Okay, so why don't I just pop over to classwork, and I'll show you, I think, maybe what you're missing, but and you tell me if it's not. Okay, does that help? Okay, so so this is a Stream. This is where announcements go, so you can put some stuff in there. We'll come back and look at that later. So in classwork, okay, so you could see, so this is this is my particular classroom. And then I have topics. You can create topics. It helps kids sort things. Like you can see, like, these are all my units down here. And you can move those so that, like, right now, all my kids are working in this particular topic called distance learning for now, okay? Now, if I'm gonna post an assignment, you go up here to this create button, okay? And I think this would help your problem. You can go down here to, now when you do this, do you see all of the things that I see here on my screen?
Yes.
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 Okay. So you should be able to, if you have created an assignment for one of your kids in one of the classrooms, you should be able to do this button, which is reuse post. Okay. So if I click on, if I click on here, what this is going to do is it's going to show me another class, basically. Okay. And so, so say I'm going to reuse this post this post, work for Tuesday. Okay. So then I'm going to click on here and I'm going to hit reuse. Now you do have to do this for every single one of your class, but you don't have to copy and paste.
Okay.
So for every one of your classes, you do have to reuse that post. So if you create one in your main classroom, you should be able to reuse that post.
Okay, so there's no way to just share it out. We have to click on every single one of our students
Yeah,
and either share poster or paste it.
Yeah, I wouldn't copy and paste it. I would definitely do this reuse post thing.
Okay.
Okay, can
now-
I interject?
So that's the problem with scheduling. Google Classroom's limitation is you have to if you're going to schedule, you have to do it one class at a time. If you want an assignment to go out, like when you create it to all of your classes, you can do that. You just click on, whatever classes you want it to go. But
May I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay, Michelle Twining, I've done it. I think I think I have a solution. It's pretty simple, really. If you go to the, I don't know how to get your thing to go back there, but go back to the other menu, the other picture you had before, and the little 3 lines under science, it says 3 lines 71. If
Yeah.
they click on those 3 lines, they're going to get every single kid that they have. Just like you have classes, they're going to have their kids.
I
And
understand.
then all they have to do is click on those and it'll automatically go into their box.
Yes, but I don't,
No.
Sign it, but it will not.
No. It's just going to bring it
schedule
to that. It's just going to bring it to that class. It's not going to put an assignment in
We
the
don't
box.
have the class, so their kids' names are going to be there.
Right,
So,
our kids'
believe me, I've
names are
done it.
there.
Whoa, wait a minute. So here's my question. So when, instead of classes, you have one class and then you have a bunch of kids' names here?
No. I have like 18 boxes. I have my box from my room, mine, my other class I teach, and then I have each individual kid's box because I'm in special ed. So theirs is listed by their names. So when I go to that menu, it's not going to have it's going to have everything that's in my Google Classroom. So then all I have to do is click on their names because that's the particular people I want that assignment to go to, and it will.
Oh, no, I know that. That is not where that is.
No,
Michelle, will that let you schedule it for the next day?
no, you have to.
No,
What I do then, I write it in my one main box that I just made for me, and then from there I reuse it.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I was just hoping there was an easier way.
No,
So
there's not.
Thank you. I appreciate the time on this.
Yeah, no, not for scheduling. You have to reuse the post every single time.
Okay, great. I'll try that button instead of pasting every time. Thank you. I appreciate
I would
that.
definitely
I think that helped a lot of us resource teachers. 'Cause we have a separate classroom for every single kid.
Yeah, the only thing you have to be careful of is you have to, when you reuse a post, you need to set the schedule time of when you want to go out. And then you also need to, if there's a particular due date for that, you need to redo that. The other thing you can do in an assignment is you can, so like for this is distance learning. So I'm just going to go in here. If I want to edit this assignment, hold on, wait a minute. These are multiple assignments. Let me go back into this one. If I'm going to edit this assignment, okay, I can, let's see, because you guys are in my way. you can make, so you have to set, so this is the one I copied. You'd have to set your new due date, whether it's graded or not, and then you have to schedule it. Your scheduling is up here, right? But you can send a certain assignment. If all your kids live in your SPED classroom, you can decide which assignments go to which kids.
They don't live in our own
They're
thing
in,
because
they're
they
in,
have to be in individual ones.
they're in each separate class.
Yes.
Because when I modify for my kids out of science, I would like uncheck this box, and then I'd have a different assignment, and then that assignment goes to some of my kids who need like supports for reading or anything like that. And then, so that's the only thing they see in their feed. They won't see the general one. It has everything else the same in it. It just has like, maybe it has a more structured worksheet, or it has a more structured, like with sentence starters or something like that.
But
So that's how.
I'm sorry, our kids are not in our main class. We were told not to invite them to our main class, to only
Okay.
invite them to their individual classroom.
That's interesting.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
It seems to me that when I do an assignment or a question or whatever, and I get to, my screen looks like what you're showing us on the right now.
Yep.
Not where it says all students, but where yours says 71 science.
Yep.
If I click that, I get all my students' classrooms.
That's
So
what
all the names are there, and it's their classrooms, and I check them, and then I hit something in that purple button. Maybe it's a sign, and then it goes to everyone's class. It goes to everyone's everyone's own class.
So you can do that if you want it just to go. As soon as you assign it, they will see that in their mailbox. The problem is if you want to schedule it, you have to do it separately, class to class to class.
Oh, if it's different days?
Different days or different times or whatever. So you have to do it by class to schedule. Yeah, if you just want to assign, you can hit the assign button, and yes, it will go to every single class that you've picked. So when I use my Google Classroom, I schedule like days out. So like for this particular scenario, my work is posted on Tuesdays and Fridays. So my classroom is already scheduled for Friday. So if you're going to do that, then you have to do it, in your case, by class, which technically for the SPED teachers is by kid. So that's the only problem with Google Classroom, is you cannot schedule multiple. I wish you could. You should be able to get a drop-down menu of all your classes and then just schedule the times for them to go out. But you can't do that in Google Classroom.
Excuse me, Beth?
Yeah,
I have a suggestion for that. This is Lisa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Listen, what I do in that case is I do that, and I click all of my classes and I save it as a draft.
Yes.
And then when I open it up, I can edit that draft to assign by class. So it's not, I have all the classes done. Then
Yes.
It's just a one-click thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So that might be an easier workaround for you guys.
This is Joan Terrio. I also heard that if you do it the morning of, then you could push it into every student, but I haven't tried that. I only heard that today.
Yeah, so if I have this assignment, you can do it one or two ways. If you go up here to in the assignment where your classes, if I clicked all these classes and then I hit this purple button assign, it would go right this minute out to all my kids. So if you want to do that in the morning, that might be an easier workaround for you guys. I typically don't, because again, I'm scheduling for 5 we have kind of the opposite problems. You're sending out to like 18 kids a day. I'm scheduling to send out to 5 classes and 125 kids for the day. So I schedule my assignments rather than going in there and hitting the buttons.
Right, and that was what we were hoping I was hoping I could do, is on Monday set up my math for the week and then schedule it. But unless, all right, could whoever said that say
you're just going to have to go to, I think you guys, because you have so many classes, your easiest thing to do, I think, is Lisa's suggestion, which is the draft, and then just go in the morning of that they need it and you hit the buttons.
Okay, how do you draft it? How do you do something and put it in draft?
So rather than
you can also draft it and schedule it too. So if they want to do it beforehand, draft it.
So,
and then individually go in and assign it by day.
How do you do that?
so I'm assuming you go to save draft, yes?
Oh,
So you're either going to assign, schedule, or save draft.
oh, okay.
Okay. And then you can save your draft. And then once your draft, so on your Google Classroom, if it's in a draft form or a schedule form, you'll see that it's grayed out. Like I typically in my class, I'll save as a draft, I save like a quiz. And, like if my kids are in school, I won't shoot out the quiz until they're all on device, sitting down, blah, 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 blah. But I like in the morning, I schedule my classes so that their work shoots out to them right at the beginning of whatever classes I used to have that particular day. So,
Okay, so if I save it as a draft, then I can schedule it, someone is saying, right? Did someone just say that?
that's what Lisa said. But I think
Okay.
you still have to schedule class by class, right?
Right. So I still have to go to each kid?
Yeah, you're going to have to go to
Okay.
each kid.
Okay,
So-
I was hoping for an easier way, but thank you. Now that I know there isn't an easier way, I'll just keep on doing
But
it.
what Lisa's saying is if you save it as a draft and then
Yeah.
in one of your classes, so say you in your main class, you save it as a draft, right?
Uh-huh.
And so it's all set up. Your work's all set up. It's set up as a draft. Then in the morning, if you go into your classroom, then you'll be able to do the drop down here where it says 4, and you'll be able to hit all your kids. You'll be able to edit the draft. So you'll be able to go in here, hit all the kids, and then assign. And so it'll go out with one click.
Okay,
That way. You're just going to have to do it the day of.
got it. That is
Probably.
easier.
Yeah, I think that's probably a workaround for you guys. So thanks, Lisa,
Okay.
for that. That's very helpful.
Thank
Thank
you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah. Very helpful.
So, I would just as soon have you guys, ask questions and see where we're at and all that kind of stuff. I typically put in due dates. If, you have due dates, you just click on here and then you click on here. You can set a day that it's due. You can also say I pick, Friday, and then you can put in a time that you want it due. And what that does is when a kid turns in an assignment, if they're later than the due date and time, it'll say a little button late on your Google Classroom. So if that's important for you, you can do that. I typically don't use the graded thing much. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I grade right on here, but then I have to put it into gradebook anyway. So, it's totally up to you. I tried to write a different word in there instead of ungraded. I tried to put like if you could do complete or not, but you can't really. You can give it points, so you can like get rid of this and say, it's going to be, 10 points or whatever. And then when you go to graded, you can give your points if you want to. Here you can. I typically put in documents right from my drive. So these got added in because I copied this assignment. These got added in from my drive. So if I, got rid of one of them and wanted to add something new in there, you can, it'll go right to your drive and you just pick an assignment, a document from your drive that you want. I have never used this grade importing thing, so I didn't know that. So maybe that's new. So that's basically the assignments. I'm going to just save this as a draft so that I can go back in and check later. Oops. So like you can see, this was the draft I just saved. So this is grayed out. This thing is launching on, this thing already launched. This thing launched. I'm trying to see if I have anything else that's grayed out. Just this is the draft that's grayed out. So that's how you'd see how it looks there. Your stream. So that's class. You guys, any more questions about posting assignments? No, we good? All right.
Yeah, I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a way to, right now, I have 2 websites that I want the kids to have access to when I post assignments. And
Yep.
it took me forever to figure out how to find the websites and get it in the Google Classroom. And right now they're in my main classroom, saved as a draft. Are
Okay.
they usable?
You want the kids to be able to use the website?
I want to be able to attach it to a post, to an assignment once I give it.
Right. So what you would do is and are they just going to read the website?
Well, no, it's like one of them is a login for a reading program that they work on. So when on a day when I assign them to go on that reading program, I want to attach the login. So all they have to do is click and get on, as opposed
Okay.
to.
Okay. So if you want, if you're gonna, you could do it. So there's a couple ways you could do that. You could do it as an assignment. Typically, with assignments, when something's assigned as an electronic assignment, it will show up in the kids' homepage when they first go on that main screen, and it'll say that this assignment is due. And so that's kind of a good thing. Sometimes, however, if they're not turning anything electronically, it confuses the heck out of the parents, not so much the kids. Because on an assignment, you either turn something in electronically and then you can hit the done button so that they know it's done. Some parents like to check that. But when you're not turning things in electronically, there's not a document there. It's kind of weird to do. But anyway, you could make it an assignment. You could make it a material. So a material is just like if I'm going to put in a presentation that they're just going to use or just going to read off of it, typically I'll put it in as a material. So I think for your website, you could do either. But say we did it as an assignment. If we go in here, I'm going to create an assignment. You could put, website for reading program. Yeah, I can't spell, nor do I have my glasses on. It's a problem. And then what you're going to do is you can add a link. So on the website, I'm assuming there's a shareable link. And then so you're going to click here. So you can either add something from your Google Drive, which is a document or whatever, or you can add a link. And so on the link, it's just going to have you put the link to that website there. That's how, I put Google Forms up all the time, and I just put a link to the Google Form. So when the kids go into this particular assignment, they'll see the link to the website to their learning program. And then in here, you could write instructions like open the link to your learning program. When you have finished this lesson, click done, because they're going to get a button over here when the assignment posts for a kid that says, it's done. Does that help you?
I hear what you're saying, but my question is, since I have those websites that I need and they're saved in my classroom as a draft, can I use that? Can I pull it from there somehow?
Yeah, absolutely. So you should be able to just, instead of creating a new assignment, you should be able to reuse a post.
Okay.
So when you say your classroom, is it the classroom?
Because I have all the other resource teachers, I have a classroom that's just myself that all related service people post out of. So right now it's saved.
Yeah, so you can just go, you would do the reuse post thing.
Reuse post.
So if you go to reuse post, you're going to find that classroom, okay? And then so if I'm going to reuse a post so this says select post. So what it usually typically does is it goes back to the last class kind of in your rotation. So I'm in my 71 class, so it's kind of going back to my 75 class. So it would, and then you would just find your post in there and then just click on your post and that would open up. And then you should just be able to assign it to whatever classroom you want to assign it to.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing when you reuse a post, you have to make sure if you have to re-put in a due date, and if you're going to schedule it, you have to put in a time you want it to schedule to launch.
Okay.
If it has a due date on it. Anybody else got any other questions?
Beth, I just want to interject one other point about reusing.
Yeah.
If you open it up and you want to reuse it and assign it to another class,
yeah,
can you just go into that, how to go, you reuse it or if you're pulling it from a class that is not on the page that has opened immediately, you have to go to that arrow.
Yes.
So can you talk about that a little bit, just because that
Yeah.
was something that I just learned today, because if I want to schedule something, I can't have it will be in 2 classes. Do you know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah, so it might not be in my 75 class is what you're saying.
It might
yes.
not be in my 75 class, but you want to find it.
Right.
And
so
then
yeah,
get to-
you go to this little arrow and that shows you back to all your classes. So you can figure out, so maybe it's in my 72 class and then I can find it there. Is that what you meant, Lise?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant, because I just learned that today, because I kept trying to schedule things. And if I want it to go to another class, then there are 2 and I can't schedule it.
Right.
It was getting me really frustrated.
Yeah. No. And I really appreciate this too, because like I do things so automatically, so that when you guys ask me a question, I'm like, okay, let me think through, like, what do I usually do? Because I can do this practically, because we do it so much at Westside, I can kind of just do it in my sleep. And
Come on, Muffin.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, hello, Muffin.
Yes. I have a question.
Yeah.
I posted an assignment where it was a little writing assignment, and I posted it in all my kids by doing that reuse post.
Yeah.
And then today, some of my students wrote to me that they couldn't get into the Google Doc am I supposed to like provide a Google Doc when I do this, or does it automatically happen? So some of my kids were having trouble responding to my question because I tried to post a Google Doc, I think.
Yeah. So did you add a document to your original assignment?
Yeah, to one of them I did. And then I reposted it. And I think only the first one worked. Maybe not for all of them.
Yeah. So when you should have something checked. So when you use a reuse post, see down here on this page, see where it says create new copies of all attachments?
Oh, yeah.
That should be checked.
Oh, that's good to know.
So if that is checked, then it will automatically create new copies of whatever was in your original post.
Okay.
And then the other thing you need to make sure that you do is, let me try to find something that has like I'm trying to think of what has let me look, I got to look at something else. You also need to make a copy for each kid. Did you do that?
No, I just reused everything.
I know but in your original, did you do that?
I don't have an original. I don't have an original classroom. I invited my supervisor to every single one of my students because that's what she told me to do.
Okay. So, but did you have a document in the one you were trying to reuse the post from?
No, I just did the first student, I post my post and then I reuse it for the rest of them.
Okay. So, you know what, let me just do an example. Maybe if I walk you through an example, because then that might help get you. So I'm going to do an assignment.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to say, I don't know, whatever. I'm going to call it, I don't know, science assignment.
Beth, I had a question about that too, when you need to assign to each student. Like I gave out a survey before and I talked to my colleague and she said I don't need to assign it to everybody.
Well, it depends what it is. Okay. So I'm going to say, please complete
Don't worry about spelling.
the document. Okay. So I just told them to do this. I spelled document wrong, but that's okay. So then I'm going to go add. Okay. And then I'm going to go to my Google Drive. And I'm going to pull a document that I was just working on. I'm looking for a document. I got it. So here's a doc. Okay. So I'm going to add this. Okay. Now I need every single one of my kids to fill out this document on their own. And I don't want to have them to mess with my original.
Right.
Okay. So in order to do that, I'm going to go over here. So right now, this is defaulted to students can view files. So the only thing my kids can do when they see this is they can just look at it. Okay. But if I go here and I put make a copy for each student. Okay. And this is, I'll show you what my document looks like. So this is a question for kids. So this is, they're supposed to do this, supposed to write some stuff in here. They're supposed to fill out the chart. I was just working on this before I came into the workshop. And then I'm going to have another question on there. So that's what the document looks like. So I want each kid individually to be able to type into this document where nobody else, where they're not messing up with my original, or they're not, they're not messing it up for another kid. So I
Right.
clicked on here, make a copy for each student. Okay.
Okay.
So, and then when I post this assignment, what happens is the kid will get will get this document goes just to them. It's like making a copy for every kid in your room. Like, think of it as a paper copy for every kid in your room. Okay. So they work on their own document, and then they turn the document in. And when you go into Google Classroom, you will see their completed document.
Beth, I'm going to just give you some information that I screwed up this morning.
Yeah.
Because I did not do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was getting 1,000 emails from kids this morning to copy them.
Yes.
So I called one of the super brains, and once you post it, once you assign it,
Yes, you can't
cannot
change it.
modify that. However, what I was able to do was I deleted the entire post
Yes.
and then reused the post.
Yes.
And then you're starting with a free, you're starting from scratch again. So then you can make a copy for each student.
Right. That's the case, is you can't, that's the only thing, like when you go to edit a post, that's the only thing you can't fix, whether you send it to each kid or they view it once it goes out there. Okay. So if you want a kid to write on their own individual document, think of it as, do I want if a kid was sitting in my classroom, do I want them each to have a paper? Then you're going to click this, make a copy for each student. Okay. If you just want a kid to look at your document, I don't typically make it an assignment. I typically make it a material, but maybe there's something in here. So let me do this. I'm going to do a copy for each kid, but then I want to add my presentation that they're going to use. So I'm going to go back to my Google Drive, and I'm going to go to recent, and I'm going to say, here's my, now you see it, now you don't. I'm going to add that. And then I don't want them to mess with my presentation. I just want them to be able to see my presentation, because it has directions in there. It has the activity that they're going to do or whatever. So then I set this, students can view file. Okay. If for any reason, the other option here is students can edit file. Say you have I don't know, some kind of a document or a spreadsheet that you want everybody to add to the same document.
Like a frequently asked questions?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Then you could do a students can edit file. I seldom do that. They struggle with that, I think, but you could do that. That's like a frequently asked questions, or sometimes in science, I'll have kids add data to the same spreadsheet, and usually it ends up being a shit show, but that's kind of just what happens. But anyway, so these are my two that I always use. Make a copy. So if you look at this assignment now, kids are able to view this one, and kids are able to get this as a paper copy, not a paper copy, as an electronic copy. They're able to write on this, and then they're able to turn that in. And actually, when they turn it in, it turns in all their documents. Okay. The other thing that you should know is when a kid turns in an electronic assignment, okay, you become the owner of that assignment. They can view it, but they cannot edit it unless you send it back to them.
Now, what's that create button for instead of the add?
Oh, so if I posted this, you could have kids they would upload their own, oops, I just lost my headphones. They would upload their own document there.
Okay, I think that's what I did.
Yeah, don't do that.
I click that button for me, create.
I never use this.
Okay, so I hit the docs.
Yeah.
And that's what I posted with my assignment, but then some kids could write on it and others could not.
Yeah, they were probably, to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever used that button. It kind of confuses them. Kids who are really tech savvy, like even if something's not there and they can figure out, like sometimes I've made mistakes when I've posted things, like I didn't send a copy for every kid. They'll know to make they'll know to make a copy of what you posted and then write on it, and then they can add it to their assignment. But a lot of kids don't know how to do that, so it's better if you make a copy.
So I could just post my post and then they'll they'll figure out how to send me back my answer.
What? For a create?
Well, no, I'm just saying, instead of me sharing a doc with them, they can just do their own doc and send it to me.
Yeah, but I gotta really be honest with you that I work in a one-on-one environment every day, and I would only say probably 30% of my kids can do that.
Oh, well, I'm very brand new to all this, so I guess I'm
So you're
doing
better to, I think you're better off to just create a document. Even if you're
Okay.
going to create a document that just says, for this assignment, put your answer here, and then
Okay.
put that document in, and then make a copy for each student. That's way easier on the kid end.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to get a bunch of emails like, I don't know what to put this on. I don't know how to, like all of that kind of stuff.
Hey,
Right.
Beth, when they do send you back your Google Doc
Yep.
and your grade, when you're grading it, I guess I'm trying to figure out how that works.
So-
What happens? They submit it, and then what happens from there? I guess is
Okay.
my first question.
So let me get out of here. I can show you something. So let me go to something old that kids, I'm trying to figure out I have so many, let me see this.
Ed,
All right, so yes, let me go in here. So this is an old assignment of mine. My kids used they do a summary table for me. So when you go in, so if you click on the assignment and you click on, you can click on a couple things. You can click on this had an ongoing due date that got interrupted actually by us being home. So they didn't really turn anything in. So, but typically if you look at an assignment, you would see turned in, and then down below you'd see the kids that it was assigned and they never turned it in. Let me go see if I can find one of those, because that's probably going to be a better thing.
Babe, I need you.
Go back.
Okay, so I'm in the fucking chat and I wrote my chat question. How do I put the chat, go on to the chat?
Beth, you might need to tell people to mute their.
Yeah. Hey guys, if you're having other conversations or getting help, maybe you should mute. Just unmute when you want to ask me a question.
Or you can actually mute them all too,
I
Beth.
can mute them. I know I can mute
And then
them.
that'll.
They're all grown-ups. We're not going to try.
Well.
I'm muted.
Wait, I'm looking for some assignment that my kids actually handed in.
this is going to be hilarious when it's videotaped.
Well,
when
yeah,
it's recorded,
I'm recording. All right, let me see if they turn stuff in here. So I'm just trying to show you some assignment that they actually did. That's not right. Hey, come on.
Do your kids not do anything?
My kids, no, they do stuff. They actually do stuff. Here, let's go in here. All right, so, oh yeah, this is one I graded actually, that's why. So when you go into an assignment, so say my kids turn stuff in, you're gonna see that it's sorted by turned in. So
We
this
don't see your screen anymore.
Oh, you don't see my screen? Whatever I did on my thing. Sorry, guys. There we go. I must have hit a button by accident.
Thank you.
Okay.
Michelle needs to mute.
Yes. Yeah. Just mute. And then you can unmute me when you have to ask a question. So this was an assigned. I had already graded some of these, so these are gone out of mine. But these are somebody handed this in late. So as you can see from this, I don't know why Jen Blue's. Oh, I know why Jen Blue's on here, because she asked to be into my classrooms. But anyway, so when you open up an assignment, you can see in here that Chelsea Guzman, she turned hers in. Okay, but you can see this little thing that says done late. So that tells me it's done late. And you can do one of two things. You can click on her name and you'll see her assignment. You just open up the assignment. The cool thing is you can see her history. So you can see exactly when she turned it in and how late it was, because it'll give it a date and a time, if that's important to you. And then you can look at her assignment and you can see what she did. And then if you want to, you can put a grade in here. You could also, if you wanted to, write a private comment, like why she got the grade or whatever. And then if you've got a bunch of them to go through, you can actually click on this drop-down menu here. She's the only person here, but then I would find the rest of the assignments here. Yeah, the rest of the kids. You can just kind of click through them that way. This also, you can you can make a comment on this. You can send it out to whatever. And then once you've graded it, if you want them, to have it back, you're going to hit this return button that's over here. And then that'll return the assignment to her. Or if you don't want to just return it kid by kid, you can also go back to that main screen. And you'll see see these little boxes. You can check all the boxes and return them all at once. These are all the kids I already graded for this particular assignment.
So Beth,
Yeah.
this is Courtney. When you send that return thing, that you get a little check mark in there, what does a kid have to do to then resubmit? Does it get rid of the mark that you left, the check mark?
Does it get rid of the check? So once I return an assignment, then that kid goes down here and it gets rid of that check mark and it would show their grade. And then if they need to resubmit, you can just tell them to resubmit. So by you returning it, it's just like it's passing back a paper. So when they turn it into Google Classroom, you become the owner of it. They can still view their assignment. They can see what they did, but they can't edit any changes to it. So you don't even have to grade it to turn it back. You can just decide to give it back to them. And then you could say, can you please fix question? You can give them a private comment and say, please fix question number 5 and resubmit. And so then once you send it back to them, then the kid can edit their document and then fix question 5, and then they'll just turn it in again.
Okay. All right.
Does that make sense? And then you can see everything that happened on that document if you pull up the kid and you click on that see history.
Okay, so they just simply resubmit it. Okay.
Yeah, they can just resubmit.
Hey, Beth, does the same thing apply to a Google form?
No. So, because a Google form works like it's a link. Right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a way to grade it and score it?
Is there a way to grade and score your Google form? Well, because you're going to have to grade and score a Google form through the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And so you have to so in Classroom, a Google form works as if it's a link. So and that's how I use it. It's like sending them to something else to work on. And then you get the spreadsheet of their responses. And so typically you would have to put your settings on a Google Forms that says like respondents can submit more than one response, or that they can edit their responses once it's done. And they should be able to go back into if you have those settings on your form, they should be able to go back into their form and edit something. But a form is just like once it's submitted, like sometimes you got to look at the settings on your form. Sometimes once they like when I do a quiz, I set it so they can only submit one response. So it depends on what kind of settings you have on your Google form.
Okay, and then you get your grade based on what they've submitted and your spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, so you'll see like what they got right, and then you should see all their responses on your spreadsheet. So when you open up the form, you go to the thing that says responses, and then if you click on create spreadsheet, it'll send all their answers to a spreadsheet.
Excellent. Thanks, Beth. This has been really helpful. I appreciate it.
Good, I'm glad. Anybody else has any more questions about posting or checking assignments or anything else I can help with? Let me unshare my screen a minute so I can look at your chats to see if you guys have questions that I didn't answer. I have a question about assignments, but it's incomplete. Fix something. Yeah, so if it's incomplete and you want them to fix something, you have to return it because they cannot edit it until it's returned to them. Okay. The only thing they can still edit is if they never did it, if they never turned it in the first place. And we answered that. We just looked at returning them in. How do you post an answer key? Oh, Lisa, that's you. What do you mean? How do you post? You want to post at a later date?
Yeah, can you post that at a later date so they can see the difference between what they did? Or, I mean,
yeah.
I just trying to navigate how to use answer keys so they get feedback. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That they can compare to. I would post, in Classroom, I would post it as a material. because that's something they're just gonna like read and they're not gonna do anything with. So they, you know, you could do that. You could also, if you, yeah, I guess you'd have to post it separately. So I would probably post it as a material. I tend to post things as materials because that's a thing that it doesn't show up on their thing as an assignment that has to be done, but it's something they're going to use in class. So a lot of times in science, I need something electronic that they need to look at in class, but we're going to do stuff in their science notebook. So things like that, I would post as a material rather than an assignment. So maybe you could post an answer key at a later date as a material. You can also post things in announcements if you want. You know, you can add documents to announcements. You could say, oh, now that you've done the work, please check your answers with this answer key. And you can post that answer key in announcements. All depends on how you want to use that.
All right, let me go back to one more question with regards to that. Once they submit their document,
yeah,
can they see it? Even though we still own it, can they ever see it?
Yeah, they can still see it.
So they could, in fact, compare their answers to the answer key, and that would give them feedback.
Yes, they can't edit it, but they can see it. They should be. And the other thing you guys should know is, I know that's kind of like trying to wrap your head around it, because like if a kid ever says to you, like, so that's why I use topics. And now that they've been home learning, I've been really trying to post like, this is the stuff you're doing Tuesday. This is the stuff, just to kind of keep them on track. But what you should know is their documents that they do in Google Classroom shows up in their drive. Okay, so what happens is all the work they do in Classroom creates a folder in their Google Drive called Classroom. And so if they're looking for a document and they can't find it, you can always go through the drive to look for that document.
Hey, Beth, when you talk about you can post it in the announcement, do you mean we can post it in the streaming?
Yeah, in the stream, yeah.
Stream and announcements are the same thing?
Stream and announcements are the same thing, yeah.
Okay.
I know like Mrs. Locke, the math teacher in our cluster, when we were at school, she posted, we always post homework. We would post like an announcement about what homework is in there. And she would do the same thing, and she would add whatever she had in there, because our parents at Westside, they would get confused if we posted something as an assignment, but a kid didn't hand in anything electronically. It didn't confuse the kids, it would confuse the parents. So Mrs. Locke would say, okay, your homework for today is to do, I don't know, worksheet, whatever, here's the presentation. She'd put that in the stream because they had the papers that went along with it. So they weren't turning anything in electronically.
Okay.
So I mean, I can, in my stream, I have, let me go back. I can show you. Where'd you go? There you are, people. So in my stream, I can show you again. Let me get my share screen here. So this is for one of my classes. So I posted for my guys, we do a weekly Zoom meeting. So I have a different class every day. So for this distance learning thing, so this tells them that this is their meeting. This is the code they put in. These are my office hours. This is the code for my office, my Zoom meeting for office hours. And then these are all my old things that I have. Like I did a video when I was home and checked in with them. So that's just kind of an informational place to look at that. It's announcements, it's stuff kids to know. Also, every time an assignment posts in Google Classroom, kids get an announcement in their stream that an assignment has posted. So today it says Beth Manning posted a new assignment for Tuesday. And so some kids, a lot of my students like to go just through their stream. But what happens is if you go here, it just brings you to that. It doesn't bring you into the assignment to see all the documents. So I keep pushing them and forcing them. You got to look in classwork because that's where the assignments actually are. And again, I have topics. So you can just, when you go to create an assignment, if you put it in a topic, it'll fall under that category. So this is my work that posted for, we just did a double post. Freak my kids out. This is my work I posted for today. So some kids already did this. So that was for today. Let me get rid of this thing because they'll just freak out.
Yeah, right.
We don't want to freak them out. The other thing I was going to show you, and it's kind of, it's, you know, I don't know the levels of the guys that you have or whatever, but one of the important things is if you go to people over here, okay, this is where you can see who's in your classroom. And if you want to, this is where, if you need to invite a cooperating teacher, because my sped teacher's happens to be on my 75 class, you can invite them here. And so it'll send them an invite, and once they accept. The other cool thing about here is if I check this box here for my students, it allows me to do some actions out of Google Classroom. So I can email all my kids if I want. You can, you know, if you just want to check a kid or two, if they left your class or whatever, the email is phenomenal. I use it all the time. So if I check that box and I click email, it takes me right to my Google Mail, and it creates a BCC. So, and then you can send an email to every single kid in your class. So I do that often with my kids. Every week, my cluster sends out an informational, we call it the weekly update to all parents and kids. And so I use the STEM information classroom to send it out to all the kids. So it's a really cool feature that is easy to use, I think. But you have to at least check the box, because if you don't check the box, you don't get this button. It's grayed out.
I did that when I screwed up my posting this morning.
Yeah.
I had a couple of kids that had gone in and said that they had done it. So I had to send them an email saying, just, you know, refresh your computer. I've done it again. Sorry. Now you have access to doing the assignment. And so it was a real quick way to solve the problem that I had created for myself this morning.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that you brought up a great point too, Lisa, is that some kids look like, I'll like post a quiz and like, you know, like my eager beavers will like have already been in their classroom, and then like, but it's not here. It's not here. I'm like, you need to refresh your classroom, because if you post something after they have opened up their classroom, sometimes it doesn't like just pop up here. They have to hit this little, that's that little refresh button right there. So if they hit that, it'll pop right in. Yeah.
Two questions. So I don't know, you might be going to this next, you know, the part where it says email all guardians.
Yeah. I don't.
Right. So if the ones that say invited, that means that they haven't accepted your email yet, correct?
Yeah.
And then if the person doesn't have an email in our system, it's going to say invite guardian, and then you'd have to add that in.
Yeah, I wish I could answer you a lot of questions about that. I don't use this. So I use it either, you can email all your parents out of Gradebook, out of PowerSchool, because that'll also build a BCC list for you. And
does it?
Yep.
Huh. All right.
So if you go to, I'm trying to think off my top of the head.
But that means they would have to have an email address in there.
They do. And I do know that one of the directives that they gave office staff for every school is to get parents with an updated email in PowerSchool. So you probably have a better chance of capturing more people going through there than you do.
I did. I went through there for the missing ones.
Yeah.
And then I entered it into the email, invite. And then I tried to send the email right from Google Classroom. So it comes up back to me. So my question really is like, I guess it BCCs everybody, and they'll still get the email regardless of whether or not they've accepted the invite.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know the answer to that question, because I don't do that enough. I've done it out of Gradebook, and I also manage a contact list of all our parents for my cluster. So I typically email out of that.
Okay. Thank you.
But I don't know that. I would assume that they would, because as long as the email's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
When you're in this page with the students,
Yep.
and you're in one class and you have all the students listed, is there any way that you can block so the kids can't see each other?
What do you mean see each other?
Well, see, this is why the special ed is saying that we have to have our own page, because when they go into the people, their confidentiality is broken because you can see everybody. Is there any way that you can just, like, you can blind copy, or is there any way?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't.
Beth, what was the question? I'm sorry. What was the question? Because I think there is a way.
Are the students able to see everybody else's name in the classroom?
I don't think so.
No, when the email goes out, it says
No, the email's blind copy.
Definitely blind copies. And if you do it from Power School, you have to make sure when you copy the link from Power School, you have to make sure to put it in as a blind copy list.
Yeah, but she's saying the reason they made them each do a classroom for every single kid is because when the kids look into people, they can see everybody, each other, who's in their classroom, like who's in their SPED classroom. I guess. Is that the question?
Yes, that's it.
I don't know that. You might want to ask like I'd ask a SPED teacher like at the middle school level, because I know they, like at my school, I know they have Google Classrooms for like their study skills kids, and all their study skills kids are they're sitting in a class together.
Well, this is the thing, because I am a middle school teacher.
Sorry.
The thing is that when we were doing it at school, it was never a problem. But now that everybody's doing this online at home, what if the aunt is over and the kid goes into people? Then they see, their neighbors in special ed, or that kind of thing.
Oh.
Beth, isn't there a box when you're assigning that you can check off that the kids either can see the people in the class or can't see the people in the class? If you're assigning go into classwork.
When you're doing so this is my question, I guess.
And you're creating an assignment.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when I create an assignment, let me just do an assignment. And then
see how down here it has the report.
Yeah, over here it says, here, I think I have to give something to it before it'll let me do anything. So this is.
Oh, so unclick all students.
Yeah, if you unclick all students and just send that assignment, you can send. So in this main class, so that's what I was trying to explain to you, how I get modified work out to my special ed kids, is that I put in my classroom, I'll see 2 assignments. And so I'll see one that's the regular assignment and one I call like, I don't know, now you see it, now you don't, 1. And then for the one that has the more structure for my SPED kids, I unclick all the other kids and I just click the kids who are going to get the assignment. So when a kid opens up their Google Classroom, the only thing they see is the assignment that's come across their feed. They're not going to see anybody else's assignment.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Kind of.
So when I'm a kid and I open up when I open up my Google Classroom, here, let me show you. Okay, so I don't know. That's the way I've always done it. Anyway, so in here, so this is the same exact assignment. This one has more structure than this one does.
Oh, right, because it has the M there.
It has the M there, okay? So I see that, but if I'm a kid, if I'm getting this assignment, the only thing that comes up into my feed will be the Get Moving assignment.
Right.
And if I'm a kid who needs more structure, the only thing that shows up in my feed is the M Get Moving assessment.
Yeah.
Beth, this is what drives me crazy about this program, is sometimes I see things and sometimes I don't. And I don't know what I've done to create a situation that I see it versus I don't see it. But down at that last assignment that you had, can you click on Get Moving, please?
Okay.
Okay. So now can you go into the assignment, because I want to see something. All right. See where it says originality reports? In the past, what I have seen down where that is, it says students can see others in class or something like that. I see that sometimes.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Me too.
And so I'm wondering why I see that for some things and why I don't. And my understanding was if I clicked that off, then the students wouldn't see who else was in the class.
I think the button is over here where the assignment is, and then it says make a copy for each student. If you push that drop down button, that's where it says share with other kids. Push it.
No, it's definitely in where it says originality report.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Originality reports is to stop plagiarism. So
right, but my point is that sometimes I see that they can see everybody in your class, and other times they can't, and that's why I'm I don't know.
I don't. You know what? I don't know. There's also a thing called a Google question that they can see each other's responses to that. Like you can click that on and off.
Maybe that's where I see it.
Here, let me go. Let's go into a Google question. So, like in classwork, when you do create, you can go to a question, and then on a question is like you can type in the question, and then here you can set right here it says students can reply to each other and students can edit answer, but that's only for a Google question. So
that must be what I see.
So I might use this, like say I want to, like I sent one out like when they were home because I wanted to do some connection with them or whatever. So I sent out a question that said, oh, tell me what you're watching on Netflix, YouTube, whatever. And so I let that be clicked, that they can reply to each other and they can see each other's answers. But that's the only thing I know that they can see each other. It's like a little chat feature kind of actually. Yeah. Because for as far as assignments go, they only see the assignment that is sent to that particular kid.
Okay. Beth, with regard to those questions, I did one with a multiple choice, just basically asking them what's their favorite kind of math problem, word problem, fractions, decimals. I was told that it's supposed to show up as a grid or a graph, and do they all have to answer it before that happens? Do you know?
I don't know, because I don't know if I've ever really, other than have scrolling through, I don't know if I've ever really looked. I know if you did that on a Google form, it would definitely give you like a nice pie chart and all that kind of stuff.
Right. I was told that it would do it there, but I haven't got that yet. They're answering, but not everyone has answered yet. So I don't know if that's why, or if I didn't set something up right, but I just thought it'd be kind of fun for them to see each other's comments.
Yeah. Okay. So we've been on for an hour. So I don't know if you guys have more questions.
Thanks, Beth. I'm out of here.
All right. So I think we're good. Why don't you think about it? Please feel free to email me, use me as a resource if you need, and if you come across questions and you're like, oh, she was the lady who trained me or whatever, I will be more than happy to answer emails and help you out as I can. Okay?
Beth, can you just go to the stream real quickly? Because you said you could only see part of the assignment on stream.
Stream. What do you mean part of the assignment on stream?
Like it was posted just the name of the assignment. They couldn't see the whole assignment on the stream. If you go to your stream.
Oh, in a Google Classroom?
Yeah.
Wait, I gotta get back to Classroom. Hold on.
Sorry.
I have another, I think it's Google Classroom at 1:30.
Yeah, there is somebody else on at 1:30, I think, too.
Is it going to be different than yours?
I don't know. Frank just asked us to do these, and so I said, yeah, I'll do one at 12. So I don't really know what they're doing. So in the stream,
if you go to like an assignment, and it just shows the assignment. If you go down.
Would that be in classwork?
No, just on the stream.
Nope, there's no assignments on the stream. Oh, you mean here when it shows up that I posted things?
Yeah, like there.
Yeah.
So if you go to the three dots.
Yeah.
Can't you do? Oh no. So
no, it just tells a kid that I posted something in Classroom. That's all it tells them.
But I was on another workshop. They said if you press those three dots,
you'll get to the assignments.
Then you can go to revise or see the whole assignment without having to click on the assignment.
I don't know.
That would be helpful.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's if you have to set that up prior to that. So like it's one of your choices when you're setting up the assignment, like kind of like when we were picking between if a kid can view it and a kid can't view it.
Right.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So when you go into Google Classroom, at your beginning page.
Yeah.
That's one of your choices, I think. You know, how you want them to share it, I
There's
guess.
something like edited version or full version.
Yes, yes, correct.
Oh,
So
I
that's
didn't.
before you
See,
post it?
I even learned something in my own workshop. I didn't even know that.
So
This was in the 11 o'clock advanced one, and I'm very not advanced at all.
yeah, you can look at it in either full or not at all. So there's nothing that shows up in the stream, or you can have the edited version.
Oh,
That
so
shows up in
you
the stream.
set that in settings, Courtney?
Yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah. So there in settings, you go down
Oh.
to
Oh, I see. I
show
show
condensed.
condensed notifications.
So if you
Oh.
change that to show
Attachments and details. Gotcha.
then it becomes thicker, and then they could click on it and it opens up
Gotcha.
right to that
Oh,
thing.
that's good. And
Oh.
that's for the teachers too.
Yeah, I just, you know what? I keep trying to force my kids to that darn classwork. So maybe
Yeah.
that's probably why I haven't
So
had that.
if you want them right, if you want them to go to classwork, you
Yeah.
probably don't want to do that. You don't
Yeah.
want to give them that choice.
Well, thanks, Court. I'm so happy I learned something. So exciting.
I can't believe I remembered something.
That's great.
All right. Well, you guys have been great. Feel free to email me anytime if I didn't answer any of your questions that you'd put here. I think we got to most of them. And have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You were very
bye.
helpful.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.